Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to put this solid extended trigger into the Colt railgun. Okay, so this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but I think it's going to be well worth it because it should be very interesting. So first, we'll safety check the weapon. This video is going to be kind of a combo. First, you're going to get to see how a 1911 is stripped down to completely nothing, so that'll be pretty cool. Second, you're going to see me install the solid trigger. And three, I'm going to show you how I condition my guns before I shoot them for the first time. Okay, I've never shot this gun. It's factory new, so everything's real tight on it. It has factory grease in it, factory oil. And when you get a new gun, you really should not, well, 1911s anyway, Glocks and, HKs and XDs and stuff like that are fine, but like 1911s, when you get them brand new out of the box, you really should take them apart, wipe all the factory oil off of it, and lube it up and grease it up so the action and everything is nice and smooth. The factory oil is not really meant for performance. It's just meant to preserve the gun until the owner gets it, okay? So I guarantee you that if you do what I do in this video for conditioning the gun before you shoot it, it'll perform a lot better than it would if you didn't do what I did. So first we're going to do is take these grips off. So I'm going to get this cloth here so I don't scratch up my screws. Alright. This gun is put together so nicely. I mean, this is one of the highest quality 1911s that I've ever had. It's just, usually when you get Colts, they're built a little bit loose, which is normal. Colt does that on purpose because when it's a little bit loose, it doesn't jam like it would if it was very tight. When it's very tight, it has to break in a lot more. And that's like one of the first things I noticed on this railgun. It's put together so tightly and it just feels awesome when you're racking the slide. It's just made so nicely. So we're going to take these VC grips off. Okay, we'll do these ones. And pretty much taking the grips off makes it a lot easier to disassemble the whole frame, because there's a lot of small parts and it's nice to see what's going on inside when you're working with them. Alright. And this gun, like I think I said in my previous video, it has the Series 80 firing pin safety in it, so it has a few extra parts than a old school 1911, so it's a little bit harder to get it back together, but I'm going to show you how I do it. Even I have trouble with it, so. For some reason, this VZ grip on the right side, it fits really snug. I don't know why, but it's not a big deal. Alright, so we have the grips off. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is take out the mainspring. So I'm going to lower the hammer so I take tension off the spring inside the mainspring housing. Alright, now, let's see here. I got this punch right here. Now, it's nice to have a nylon punch set because metal on metal is not good because it scratches. So I'm just going to get this cloth to put it between. Now, right here is the pin that holds in the mainspring housing. There's a pin right here, and you push it out from this side of the frame. Okay, so I'm going to tap it out and hopefully it'll fall right into my lap. Okay, so I'm going to get this lined up. And you shouldn't have to hit too hard. I'm just going to use this mallet here. And it moved. Okay. Now I'm just going to punch it the rest of the way out with this punch. Alright, it came out. Okay, here's the pin that holds in the mainspring housing. if you look at it, one end is hollowed out. Okay, it's gonna be really hard to see. One end's hollowed out and one end is round, like that. So the hollowed out end faces like this on the frame. Okay, it faces up. So just remember that. Okay, now we can slide out the mainspring housing. And there it is. It's the mainspring housing. So we're just going to put that to the side. Let's get this magazine out of here. Alright. Now we have to take out the ambidextrous thumb safety. So, from what I've heard, you have to get it in the middle of safe and not safe. You gotta cock the hammer first. On my Series 80 1911, it doesn't have the ambidextrous thumb safety, so it pops right out. I guess this one's a little bit different, so we're gonna see how it comes out. This is tight. It's coming though. Man, that's tight. My Series 80 1911 is, oh here we go, is so broken in, so the parts on that thing just come apart like that. This one's tight. Okay, so that's the left side. Now this side should just pop right out. There. There's your ambidextrous thumb safety. Okay. Now the grip safety should fall out, which, there it is. Now you can take your mainspring out, or your mainspring out. I think that's what that's called. Okay, this is pretty interesting. I think this tab is for the grip safety. The middle tab is for the sear, and the far tab to the left is for the trigger. I think that's how that works. Okay, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna set that to the side. Okay. Now this is all the easy stuff. The hard stuff is the Series 80 firing pin crap. Oh, and this pin comes out right here from this plunger. Okay, there it is. This end is for your magazine release. This end is for your grip safety. So we're going to put that right there. Now you have two pins. You got a big one on the top and a smaller one to the left. The bigger one on the top is for the hammer. So we're going to push that out from the right side of the frame. Remember, all the pins go in from the right side and they come out from, they go in from the left side, they come out from the right side. So just remember that. So whenever you're taking the pin out, you push from the right side. So we're going to take the big pin out, and they should just come out like that. And these pins have a head on them, okay? So the head lays like on this part of the frame. Okay, so you put it in to the left side of the frame. Then the hammer falls out like that. And there's a little piece right here that goes with the hammer. Okay, this is what pushes up on the little button on the slide right here for the firing pin block to allow the hammer to strike the firing pin. So we'll put that over here. And all these pins are different sizes, so you don't got to worry about mixing them up. Now this pin right here is what holds in all the stuff in here. Okay, you got your, I think that's your sear and all your stuff that has to do with the Series 80 safety. So once we push this out, all this crap's gonna fall out, and it's gonna look intimidating, but you know, kind of look at it and remember to your best ability how it looks. And I took a picture of how it looks on my phone, so I can always look at that if I need to. So I'm just going to push this pin out, and all this is going to fall out. There we go. First time I did this, it was a nightmare. I did it with my Series 80, model 1991. That's the first 1911 I ever did this with, and this is the second 1911 I ever did this with. Here's all your stuff. It took me like a whole day to get it back together. It's not hard, you just got to line it up, and that's what the hard part is, lining it up and keeping it where it needs to be to put the pins through. Okay, so that's all to apart. Now we have to take out the magazine release. So, where's my, oh here it is. You need a really small flat blade screwdriver, a really small one, like a jeweler's screwdriver. Now you're going to push in on your magazine release like that, and I think you turn the screw to the left or right. Let me see. Turn it to the left like that, and it holds in place. I don't think I've got it all the way. You should hear a little click, or maybe not. There. And your magazine release comes right out. And apparently, out of this whole gun, this is the only MIM piece, metal injected molding. The magazine release is the only piece in the whole gun that is metal injected molding. Okay, so all these parts are high quality. Now the trigger should just fall right out. Okay, there's your trigger. And this is a completely stripped frame of a 1911. Okay, now I guess in theory you could go farther and take out your bushings for your grip screws, but there's really no point of doing that. You know, you don't gotta clean those or nothing. So, you know, this is pretty much out. This is pretty much your stripped 1911 frame. Okay, and there's a lot of pieces, but it's really not that hard. Okay, it's pretty cool. So you could give it a very thorough cleaning. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off all the factory oil, and there's really not that much left actually. The rails are very dry, but all these little pieces, I'm just going to wipe them down with this cloth, and I'm going to get them ready to put my own oil on them. And you don't have to do this when you get your 1911. The only reason I had to take all this apart is because I want to take out the trigger and put this one in. Okay. Once I get this back together, I'm going to show you what you need to do to your 1911 to get it ready to shoot for the first time. It's really nice to know how to do all this stuff though, just in case something does break. You know, you could fix it, because it's a lot of money to take a gun to a gunsmith. And if you know how to do this, you can customize your gun however you want. You can put different grip safeties on, hammers, triggers. You can change out, like, I know like on Kimbers, a lot of these pieces are MIM parts, and you can put really good parts in them if you know how to do this. So it's pretty cool. When I was at my gun shop today to get some Hoppy's oil and solvent to clean one of my pistols, I was looking at some of the handguns there, and they had a SIG P226 for about $800, $899 I think. So about $900, man. That thing's sweet. It's really nice. They also had a Springfield XD subcompact in 9mm, and I was actually looking at that pistol only in 40 caliber on the internet. I think I want a Springfield XD subcompact in 40 caliber. It just seems like a really nice gun to carry. It's about $450, $500 depending where you get it. So that might be my next purchase. I'm not sure. Okay, I think I got everything wiped down. And pretty much for the frame, we're just going to lightly coat the inside with oil. Just lightly. You don't want to put a heavy coat on. You don't want oil dripping out of the frame. So I'm just going to get just a little bit. I'm going to put a drop in here. This area is called the dust cover. If you didn't know that, I'm just going to rub it in with my finger. It's just really good for the steel. And being as this thing's completely apart, you can get into spaces that you normally couldn't get into. And just pretty much coat everything. Yeah. And like I said, not a lot. You don't want the gun to drip oil. And just in case any of you were wondering why I'm exchanging, where the heck did it go? Oh, a modern skeletonized trigger for a solid trigger, is because even though this is very cool, I want this railgun to resemble the ones that the Marines have as best I can. Okay, it's called the Colt USMC M45. It's what the Marine Corps adopted. And it's a really cool pistol, man. And I want this pistol to be as similar to that as possible. And that the pistol the Marines have a solid trigger, because in the military if they had a trigger like this with holes in it, stuff could get stuck in there, and they don't want that. So I think I pretty much got everything in here. Okay, so that's nice and oiled up. Now I'm just going to get a little bit of oil on my finger, and I'm going to lightly coat all these pieces. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this trigger because I'm taking it out, but with the trigger I'm just going to lightly coat this. And this is a Colt trigger, by the way. I got it for 13 bucks. That's not bad. Brand new too. Yeah, you just want a very light coat on all the pieces. Okay, mainspring. It's amazing how this pistol was designed in it was probably designed around like 1910, but John Moses Browning, it's amazing how he could come up with something like this back then. He was way beyond his time, that's for sure. I could never design this. I'm not an engineer anyway. It's amazing how you could think of how this works, you know. Before this pistol existed, how he could just come up with this design is just unbelievable. Alright. Okay, I think I got everything pretty much lubricated. And I'm going to put a little drop of oil on this plunger so that it'll make it really nice when I caulk it. It'll be real smooth. So, okay, now let me wipe my hands off here. The first thing we're going to do, I want to put a little bit of grease, okay, on the trigger up here and here where it rubs on the frame. I just want to get a little bit of gun grease and just get a little bit here and here, just so it's a nice smooth trigger. Probably won't help that much, but I'm sure it's better than nothing. Now when you put this trigger in, if you look at it, this piece that's connected to the trigger, the part of the trigger that has more of it exposed, if you can see how this is higher on the trigger, this part here is the bottom. Okay, so it slides in, there's a little rail. Actually, I should probably get a little bit of oil in those rails. There. Just going to drop this trigger into the rail. And there it is. Solid trigger. And to hold that in place, I got to put my magazine release in, so just pretty much do it backwards. Set it into place, push out on it, get your screwdriver and turn the screw to the right until you hear it click. Oh, I guess you didn't hear it click. Alright, there it is. There's the thumb, or the magazine release, it's in properly, and the trigger is in there. Okay, so here's the hard part. We have to put in the Series 80 firing pin mechanism. Okay, this is the not fun part. After you get past this part, the rest of it's a breeze, but this part is a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the ass. Alright, so let's get all these pieces out of here so we have room to work. Okay. You got these three pieces. You have your sear, you have this piece, and you have this piece. I don't even know what they're called. The sear, you have an edge right here on the bottom. It goes in the gun like this. If you can imagine this inside. It looks like this. So you lay it how it goes in the gun. And this piece right here, there's like a hook that swoops in like a C. That faces up and it goes on the top, so you just lay that on top of there like that. And this piece, there's a little tiny tab and there's a big tab. The big tab goes down and the little tab faces up to the top, and this actually lays next to it like this, but it's impossible to get all three inside at the same time. So you lay your pistol like this with the thumb or the magazine release facing up, and you have to, if you look in the frame, you can see the hole that the sear pokes through. So keeping these two together, this is what it should look like. You can see that. It looks like that. You put it up into the gun, trying to keep them together. Just try to line it up. Yeah, I messed up already. This is very tedious. And we're trying to line this stuff up with a small hole to the left. Okay, so. Okay, like this. Yeah. This is really hard to do. Yeah, I think I got it. Did I get it? No, I didn't get it. And the first time I did this, I was a nervous wreck. Okay. I never thought I'd get it back together. It's freaking scary. Alright, now, I have it laying in there. What you want to do is you want to get a roll punch. It's kind of small, like this, and you put it through the hole and try to get it through. Alright, I think I got it. Okay. Now, I'm going to get a bigger roll punch that fits the hole perfectly so that there's less movement of the parts. That's too big. I think this one's it. Okay. Thought I had a better one than this. Whatever. Okay, now I have this all lined up. I'm using this roll punch to hold all these pieces into place, okay? Because I still have to get this piece in there with the roll pin through it. So I take it out to about right here to where I can still see it's through the pieces, and I kind of put like a tension on it, and I just slide this piece into the frame. This is going to be really hard to do, and I knew before I even made this video, it's going to be impossible to show you what I'm doing. I'm just trying to explain it to you the best I can, and I'm not really that good of an explainer, so, you know, sorry about that. It's just really impossible to show you. Holy crap, I got it. This is the hardest part, dude. If you've never done this before and there's no reason to do it, don't do it. Okay, now that I have everything lined up, I can take this out. Is there oil? Let me get some oil on this pin. I think it dried up. Alright, now I'm gonna put this pin in. There, the hardest part of the whole thing is done. Thank God. It's in there. If you can see that, all that crap's in there. That's the hardest part. So now, I can put the rest of the frame back together. I'm going to get the plunger tube. The side with the smaller piece goes in first. Like that. And this side is for your mag release, this side is for your slide release, this side is for your thumb safety. Okay? And that's held in by the grip safety. So now we can put our hammer in, and our hammer, the pin that holds the hammer in also holds this piece in, and this is what pops up to activate or to depress that pin in the slide so that the hammer can hit the firing pin. So we're just going to lay that. This part's easy. You just lay it in where you can see where it goes. Make sure it has a clear hole. Line your hammer up. And like I said, your hammer is the big hole that's the farthest on the top of the frame. Right there. Just get your pin. I don't think I got oil on these pins. There. Okay, the hammer's in. And this tail of the hammer, this piece right here that I'm moving, that is what depresses the plunger and the mainspring housing, which puts pressure on the hammer and gives it power to hit the firing pin. So now that we got the hammer in with the little piece that hits the button in the slide, let's see here, I'm trying to think. I don't do this often, so I gotta think. Okay, we can put our mainspring in. Okay, make sure it's coated with oil. Alright, and there's a little tab. Wait a minute. Okay, make sure this tail of the hammer is out of the frame. And then there's a little notch, you can see it real easily. There's a little piece right here on the bottom that hooks into it. You just pretty much line it up and put it into place. If you do this, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, and that just lays in there like that. And then you can put the tail over the mainspring. Do not put the mainspring over the tail of the hammer. It just won't work. Okay, now we can put our grip safety on. It's really easy, you just line up the hole. You put this over the mainspring, like that. Okay, and you get your real big fat, no, that's the wrong one. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. The thumb safety is what you use. You put it through the hole, like that, and that holds your grip safety in. Now I'm just going to get a really small punch, and I'm going to depress this plunger, like that. Okay. Okay. Now I get the ambidextrous part of the thumb safety, and there's a little notch, you just gotta line it up like that, and pretty much you just mess around with it and push in on it until it snaps into place. I don't know if all ambidextrous 1911s are like this, but this Colt is really, really tight. It's just put together so well. Did I get it? No, I didn't get it yet. Just gotta push a little bit more. There we go. It's installed. So the ambidextrous thumb safety is back in. Now I'm gonna raise the hammer like that. I'm gonna get my mainspring housing, and even though it's polymer, I'm just gonna put a light coat of oil on it because it's touching the inside of the frame, which is metal. So just want to coat that with oil, and make sure when you're putting this in, like I said, the tail of the hammer, make that go in the plunger as you're sliding up the mainspring. So like, okay, I think I got it. Now once you got it in the plunger, then you can put the hammer up, because it's pretty much impossible to slide this up with tension on it because the spring is so strong. Okay, like that. And then you just put your pin back in to hold the mainspring in. And it's kind of hard, so I'm going to get my hammer and use the plastic end so I don't mar it up. There. Okay. Seems to work. Cool. Alright. Yeah, the frame's pretty much put back together. Now I'm going to get some oil and just rub it on the frame where the grips will go. Just a little bit, because like I said, it's good for the steel to have some oil on it. Just preserves it. And this Cerakote finish is so nice. It's kind of like a Parkerization, but it's even better. It just feels really good too. Alright. Now I'm going to get my screws. I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite. Blue Loctite, don't use red. You'll never get them out. Just a little bit. Don't need much. Just set it in there like that. Just a little bit. I love this stuff. Now I'm going to get my screwdriver and very carefully just screw it in. Alright, now to tighten it, I'll just use my cloth, because this is where I'm putting a lot of pressure on the screws. And you don't want to overdo it, just snug it. You know, if you overdo it, you can strip the bushing and the screw, which probably doesn't cost that much to replace, but you know, it's a pain in the butt. Alright, so there's the grips. Now we'll do this side. It's a little bit too much, but whatever. I think these grips look really good on this gun. Alright, just get some blue Loctite. And when you're putting these screws back in, if they don't go easily, don't force it, because they could be crooked and you could screw up your threads. So, you know, very gently put them back. You know, sometimes they won't go. You just got to readjust it and then it'll go. When you're working with guns, you got to be very patient. You know, sometimes for no reason things just don't work the way they should, because you know, you might not be doing it right, or the gun's just made very tight or whatever. Or sometimes they're just random things that happen you don't expect. Just don't force anything. You know, if you get mad, just walk away from it, calm down, and come back later. You know, there's no point of ruining your gun or scratching it or whatever if you're mad. Never work on a gun when you're mad, trust me. Okay. Now the frame's back together, and there's the solid trigger. I think it looks pretty good. Feels very smooth. Alright, so now we're to the point where I'm going to show you what I do to my guns when they're brand new, 1911s by the way. What I do to my 1911s when they're factory new out of the box before I take them out to shoot them. So I'm going to take the slide apart here. Okay, this is a National match barrel by the way, which is pretty cool. National, it says Colt 45 Auto N.M. That's National match, pretty cool. Now, this gun has, like I said 1,000 times, the Series 80 firing pin block. I'm not going to take that out. I'm not going to take the firing pin out because, you know, the gun's brand new. That you really don't have to do that when it's brand new. I just take that out when I'm cleaning it every 1,000 rounds or whatever. So I'm just going to leave that in. So when a 1911 is brand new, you want to get the slide. You want to wipe out all the factory oil. Okay. Get the rails as much as you can. It's kind of hard, but it's really not that much to wipe off. And then you just get all your little parts, wipe the factory oil off. And these rails are very dry actually. Kind of surprised. Oil must have dried up. I've had this gun for a few months now. I haven't shot it yet. I know it's kind of hard to believe. Just never got around to it. Boy, that's on there tight. Jeez. I'm just going to leave that on there. It's really tight. Okay. Now, to get the gun ready to shoot, First thing you want to do is just lightly I would really like to get this off the spring. It's coming, hold on. Jeez, okay. The first thing you want to do is just get all the little parts and just lightly coat them with oil and set them to the side. So, just get my Hoppy's oil and lightly coat it. Just set them all to the side. I like ballastol, but for some reason, whenever I use ballastol for a lubricant, like I oil my gun up with it, it seems like it turns into like this, I don't even know how to describe it. It like looks like real thick, and it turns into something weird. Like, you know, like oil is oil. It stays oil. But for some reason, when I put ballastol on my gun and like lube it up with it, and like a few days later, I'll look at my gun and it looks like the ballastol turns into like some kind of gel. You know what I mean? So as a solvent, I think ballastol is pretty good. But I don't like to use it for a lubricant. I just like to use regular oil. But that's just me. Just coat the outside of your barrel with oil. Like I said, not a lot, just like 2 dots. You could get a swab and get a light coat of oil on the inside of the barrel, but I don't have that with me right now. It's in the garage, and I'm not going to go out there and get it. So I'm just going to leave that there. Now you want to lightly coat. The inside of the slide. Okay, so just get like 1 drop in there. Just 1 drop. And you just want to get your finger and reach in there and just move it around the whole housing of the slide. And this is good for the steel. It's not good to have dry metal rubbing up against dry metal. It just wears on it a lot harder. So if you just have a light coat of oil, it just it's a little bit easier on the gun. That's all. It'd be nice to get a little drop in here. Okay. Get a little bit on this block right here, and the face right here. Okay, and the slide's good. Get it on this part right here. And we'll set the slide to the side, and now you want to get your frame. Get some oil down in here. This is called the dust cover. I don't know if I said that already. Just coat all of this. I already have all that coated inside from before, but I'm just gonna get this. Alright, now I'm gonna this is the most important part. One of the most important parts. You wanna get actual gun grease, okay? Get grease. And you just take a little bit on your finger. Or some containers actually have it so you can use it to put it on the rail, but this is too big of an opening, so I can't do that. You want to put it towards the front so that when you cock it, all the grease doesn't come out of the back. If you put the grease towards the back, as soon as you cock it, you're gonna have grease falling out everywhere. So put it towards the front of the rail. Okay, just a little bit on this side, like that, and then a little bit on this side. And what you're doing here is you're just conditioning your gun to be shot. So it makes it a lot better for it. And when you do this to the parts, it makes them last a lot longer. It doesn't wear as much. Okay, now for the slide, you want to get it inside the rail on the slide. Right there. And put it towards the front so that when you cock it, it'll distribute the grease. You just need a little bit, you don't need a lot. Okay. I think I got it. Yeah. And that's all you need. That's it. And actually, if you want to, you could just put a little bit of grease on this block right here where the sear rod's, just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more smooth. And then get a little bit of grease and put it on your hammer. Believe it or not, if you do this, your gun won't look as used when you shoot it. You know, just it's really good for the gun. Okay, now after all that's done, you're pretty much good. And like I said, if you have a cleaning rod with a swab and a cotton patch or whatever, you can lightly coat the inside of the barrel with oil. Okay, I normally do that, but I forgot to bring that stuff out here, so I'm not going to do it for the video. Okay, so now you just put together the 1911 like you normally would. On your recoil spring, you have one side that's a complete circle, and you have one side where the spring ends. Okay, there's an actual end to it. The end is what goes inside of the takedown plug, like that. So the complete circle is what goes on your guide spring rod, like that. Okay, now just get your barrel and put it into the slide. Get your barrel bushing. This is so tight, I can't believe it. It's awesome. I feel like this is a custom gun. You swing it to the left, and you put your recoil spring and your recoil guide rod, like that. And then, being as this is Series 80 firing pin, you have this little piece. Okay, it's sticking up right here. You got to make sure that's down, or else you cannot get the slide on the frame. So make sure that doesn't fall out of there. Just alright, there we go. Now you just got to line up your barrel link in the hole, like that. Put your slide release through the hole. Then you line up your little notch over the square hole, like that. And now you got to be very careful here that you don't get your idiot scratch. Okay, you don't want to scratch your frame, you don't want to scratch your slide. Lift the slide release up a little bit and then swing it up. And now this plunger is very stiff because it's a new 1911 and it's made very well. So very carefully push it in. And it's not really going in, so I'm just going to wiggle it a little bit. Very carefully, don't scratch anything. Like that. Just push it in. There you go. And you put your slide all the way forward. Put your thumb safety on so it holds it in place. Put the gun up like this. Get your plunger. Push it down into the slide. And then just swing your bushing over it, and then there it is. Fully assembled. And that feels really good. Jeez. And now you can see all this grease coming out of the rails. Open up the slide, lock it in place, and get your finger and get the grease off the slide and just put it right back into the rail. Like this. And then cock it again. And not quite as much comes out. And then just get it off with your finger again. Just put it right back. Okay, then you got most of it into the rail, and then you can get like a cloth and just wipe out the excess. And you just want to cycle the gun a few times to distribute all the oil and the grease. This 1911 is put together so nicely. And now you want to make sure everything works, so we're going to put the thumb safety on. Thumb safety works. We're going to test the trigger without depressing the grip safety. Okay, that works. And you just want to make sure it works. Half cock, full cock, we're good to go. Yeah, man. Put your magazine back in. And there you go. There's your complete disassembly of the 1911. And like I said, you can take the firing pin and firing pin block out of the slide, but I'll show you how to do that in a different video. It's better to shoot the gun first because then it kind of loosens everything up. When a 1911 is brand new out of the box, that stuff is very tight in there and it's really hard to get out. So Just wipe all the oil off with the rag or whatever. Yeah. That solid trigger looks sweet. I like it better. Yep. So there it is. I'm hoping to get this to the range and shoot it. It should do very good. It's ready to go. Yeah, so there it is, guys. That's all I got for now. I'll see you guys later.